Everyone has a journey.
Everyone has a journey.
Everyone has a journey.
This is Proud Radio on Apple Music One.
We are back for 2024. Hello to anyone joining us for the first time and welcome. It's episode 50. Happy 50th to us of Proud Radio. My name is Hattie Collins, and in this hour every month I champion the best new music being made by the LGBTQIA+ community, and I sit down with some of the most exciting humans making music today. Speaking of which, today on the show we will meet the fantastic foursome Fizz and good friend of Proud, the wonder of Whitley Bay herself, Elle Devine. We will also be premiering a brand new track from Elle, and that is in about 20 minutes. Dodie, Greta, Orla and Martin, aka Fizz, are up after this. From the band of the moment, this is The Last Dinner Party. Former recipients of our prestigious Proud Pick, I am joined today by pop supergroup Fizz. Dodie, Orla, Greta and Martin. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
So I know you're all solo musicians, of course, in your own right. You turned yourselves into a pop supergroup, which I absolutely love. I'm sure your day ones know this, but how do you actually know each other? How did you meet in the first place? And also, how and why do you think you bonded to become this fantastic foursome?
I was a massive Orla fan back in the day. Huge Orla Garden fan. I downplay it, but I really, really was. In fact, the first time I met her, I went to her gig and asked her for a photo, and those photos are dreadful. We will not speak of them. And then everyone else has sort of known each other in various ways.
I met Orla when we were 18. I played in her band. She was living in Dublin. I was living in South Wales. And then Orla was like, "You're coming to London with me." And then we just both moved to London. And then we met Martin on a second Orla tour.
Yeah, I was supporting Orla. Mm-hmm. And then I met Orla and Greta. And then there was a night in London on that tour where Dodes was first on, then it was me, and then it was Orla, and Greta was in Orla's band.
Yeah. I think we all just bonded over the power of music many years ago. And yeah, we've worked on each other's projects in various ways. I've done creative direction work on all of your guys' projects.
Literally.
Just realised, yeah. Yeah, and Orla's played in Dodie's band, and me and Martin have written loads together, and we've written loads with Orla. So yeah, it was only a matter of time really until the universe said, "Come on, start band."
So the album, which came out in October 2023, is called The Secret to Life. Is this individual insight?
Well, the song The Secret to Life never actually tells you. I've always thought of it a bit like, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. It's like, whoa. But I think throughout the album, maybe we explore a couple of themes, and I think really the whole thing is just a snapshot for this point of our lives, which is chaotic and crazy and loud in some moments and still and introspective in others.
I think the album sort of covers, like Orla said, a whole spectrum of emotions, from very manic moments to quite intimate moments. And I think that's what being in your 20s is and having the safety of your friendships to explore those different sort of landscapes of emotion, Yeah. So I think that's what the album is.
You all were making music separately, and then you were whisked off to a studio, I believe in the middle of nowhere, with no intention of really making an album per se. What happened? How did all this form?
So Pete Mars, who's the producer that we made the album with, this place Middle Farm is in Devon. He's just honestly a big kid really. So yeah, when we went down, it was kind of a bit of a holiday from music in the way that we'd been living it really for most of our careers, in that we wanted to invert everything and not start thinking about how it was going to be perceived or how it was going to be consumed, and just go back to being kids in the garage thrashing it out basically. And Pete's the perfect person to facilitate that. We went down and he just set up all these stations, all the instruments were everywhere, and we were just kids again. It was amazing. It was so special. But yeah, it became what it became. But we didn't go down there with the intention of an album. It was just the intention to have a laugh, and I think all of us would have made our peace if we just decided to keep it on a hard drive and never do anything with it.
What was the first song you wrote, Greta?
The first song we wrote was High in Brighton. We were celebrating something, can't remember. We were in Brighton and we were driving back, and I started doing this in the car, and then we started sort of harmonizing this chorus. We sent a voice note over to Orla and just asked her what she thought, and she came over the next day with a guitar and said, "I've written a verse, what do you think?" And yeah, it just kind of fleshed out from there, and then we finished it in Middle Farm. So a lot of the songs kind of would start off as quite silly ideas, and then we'd take them over to Middle Farm and fully flash them out in the live room.
One of my favourite track is As Good As It Gets, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. Tell us a little bit about how and why did you sort of want to write that song? And how did you do it in a way that actually makes it also really listenable, even though you're talking about something very serious?
I think the inception of that one was kind of following a mood that Gret was in that day. I don't know, a little bit of tension in you maybe, and we really wanted to write like kind of, it started out like a bit of Green Day, American Idiot sort of tribute, like just wanted something that could chug along. It really follows the kind of guitar playing that Gret is great at as well, just really like punky and chuggy, and it found its way very quickly as this like build up of pressure over many years, many small moments, not one thing, but just lots and lots of years of feeling like you didn't say something when you should have, or you didn't feel good enough. It kind of felt like the kettle just going.
Let's play some music from you now. We're going to play the title track. Before we do, what does this song and I guess the album as a whole mean to you guys now that it's been out for a few months?
This song, to me in particular, for me, it's about being as loud as possible, because we've said it quite a lot now, but like in our own artist projects, we're very like meticulous and careful, and what are we trying to say? Whereas in this, like, pretty sure I don't know, probably took a shot before we started recording vocals, and I didn't care, and we just layered them and layered them and layered them, and I was just yelling, and I probably sound terrible if you solo my vocal, but it didn't matter. So I think like this song is about like letting free and yelling.
Let's have a listen to that right now. This is Secret to Life from my fabulous guest today, Fizz. So Fizz, you've got a tour coming up next month. You are hitting the road. You've described your live show as a slice of Fizzville. What exactly does this entail?
It's like, we did a record store tour a couple of months ago now when the album came out, and it was so nice meeting all the fans and how they'd sort of taken Fizzville into what they were wearing, and like it feels like we've made this sort of culture of really encouraging people to just be their biggest, boldest versions of themselves, and it's just so wholesome. I think everyone's kind of returning to what they were when they were a kid in the same way that we did when we made the album, and it's just really sweet seeing everyone like dress up in all these crazy outfits and just be so unapologetically themselves. It's like a real celebration of life, I think.
What a lovely thing to create. You are, of course, really creative with your fans. As you just mentioned, they love to get dressed up. You have the vinyl that they can colour in. How do you sort of decide what you want to do and bring to the fans? Because you are doing something I think is pretty unique.
I think what's made a lot of this much easier is conceptualizing this sort of place called Fizzville, which is, I guess, in our minds like a fabricated place, kind of theme park meets town. And it feels like it's meant to sort of represent the place we went to when we wrote the album, very like psychedelic. So everything comes from there. So we've got the High in Brighton roller coaster in Fizzville, and we have the As Good As It Gets arcade where you can slay the patriarchy dragon, and lots of like fun little rides and attractions that have yet to come to fruition. But it's much easier coming up with these ideas when we have this like hub of information to like draw from. And I think all of that came out of having made the album and using that sort of album as like a pot of inspiration for this make-believe place that one day will exist.
I love this whole world that you created. I know that your own world are all linked because some of you live together. Apart from you, Ola, you live on somewhere else.
Just down the road.
Just down the road. Oh, okay, your neighbours. Who is the tidiest, messiest? Who's the DJ? Tell us all. Who's the one that doesn't top the milk up in the morning? Who's the one that steals the oat milk and the toothpaste? Tell us all.
Grass the cleanest.
I think I like get obsessive bursts of cleans. You're like consistent clean man, vibes man. You'll like light the candles and
vibes,
like
wash up.
Vibes. Light the stage and put on Chet Atkins, and then
Dodie's the messiest.
Just for everyone listening, that was a very unanimous. Everyone looks at Dodie and said that pretty much in one day.
I think Gret was going to try and phrase it quite politely.
I've gotten lots better.
Not that bad. You're not that bad.
You can be messy, Fizz.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Right.
Why not? Is there a late night Fizz? Who's the kind of one that's up playlists? Keeping everyone up.
Yeah.
Orla is
Orla,
up
you're
at
the
3 a.m. doing admin.
But then you're awake at like 8:30.
Yeah.
Crazy. She doesn't stop.
I can't recommend it.
It's not a thing to do. How does it feel for you guys to be amongst friends and making music in terms of just for your everyday wellness? Good? Feels good?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so grateful. It's something that like, it feels like a secret language, like an in-joke. Like for example, if we're walking around a shopping centre and like someone's riffing like over the speakers, if I'm with anyone else and I'm like, oh, did you hear that? Everyone's like, no. But these guys always have like an open ear and we just like laugh really.
Can you hear any melodies now? Anything coming to you? Any harmonies?
The aircon, the heavens above.
No.
Absolutely fine. What are your goals for 2024 on an individual level?
I can't wait to play Shepherd's Bush Empire on the tour. That's going to be sick. And all the other venues across the UK. Also, I want to learn how to drive. I think it's time. Yeah, I'm 28. I just need to do it.
I'd like to do some traveling in 2024. I feel like I've been very static this year.
Where do you want to go?
I'm not sure. I have no solid plans, but I wanted to go to Asia for years, and maybe 2024 will be the year. It's always, work always gets in the way, but I think I just need to be intentional about it. So maybe Asia or somewhere further afield.
As a group, what's the song that you collectively love the most from the album that can see us off at the end of this episode?
The grand finale.
Yeah,
Grand finale.
It's got to be grand finale, right? It's the most ridiculous, sensational banana song on there, and it of course closes the album.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. Tell us about that song before we say goodbye.
Where do we start? We all kind of did a bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like all us started it. We all wanted a song called The Grand Finale, so we started there. Felt very Fizz. Paula wrote like the first sort of verse, chorus bit, if you can call it that. Is there a verse, chorus?
Don't know.
A and
Motif.
B section.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gret did the bit that sounds a bit like Thomas the Tank.
Like many songs on the album, it's a good example of one that we were writing and recording and producing like as we were doing it, and there wasn't a lot of planning going into it. So what you're hearing is literally how it was. It's like basically untouched from when we were writing it. So it's very nice.
We're going to close out on that. I would say to everyone listening, stream the hell out of the album and go and see these guys play. I think it's going to be amazing. Closing us out, it's the fabulous, the wonderful Fizz with the grand finale. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on Proud.
Thank
you. Oh, thank you so much for dropping by, Fizz. Love those guys. What I wouldn't give to be a fly on the wall at one of their house parties, eh? Tickets are now available for their tour. If you want to take a trip to Fizzville, get yourself some tickets. I'm sure they're as rambunctious live as they are in person. And the album, The Secret to Life, really is a brilliant ball of energy. A couple of stunning sad songs on there too. I think my favourite at the moment is Close One. Stream it now in all its unusual glory.